Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Tuesday. Got my days right. And all of our guests today brought to you by, that includes Jamie McLennan standing by, Delaney's OK Tire in Langley, Clayton and Brett Delaney, second-generation owners. They handle all the major tire brands as well as custom wheels and suspensions, leveling kits and lifts and full mechanical services. Visit them at 19863 Fraser Highway in Langley. Canucks in a shootout over the Devils in New Jersey 4-3 as Thatcher Demko makes his return, gets the win, 22 saves. Here to talk about that and all matters National Hockey League. Noodles, TSN, Jamie McLennan, how are you, sir?
Not too bad. How you guys doing today?
Good. Very well, very well. What did Thatcher Demko show you last night?
Showed me what an elite goaltender can do in overtime. I'll tell you that. I mean, that save alone was brilliant. With I would call it the right pad. I don't know if he got a blocker on it. Whatever happened, it was just that's vintage Demko. Look at the extension on that as well. I mean, I'm sitting here and as a former NHL goaltender who had zero flexibility, watching that going, oh my God. Like I was watching the game live and it actually brought me out of my chair. Like I do get fired up about unique things. And I was like, oh my God, what a save. And at that point, you're like, okay, you felt like they were kind of willed to win at that point where, they score the late goal. They get through overtime and then to get into shootout. To me, it was, it seemed like, and I wouldn't say this because I don't know if there's any destiny involved, but you want to circle games on the calendar. If you make the playoffs, that might be one where it's like those 2 points, it didn't look too good there for a bit. And all of a sudden you end up with 2 points. That was a huge win for the Canucks. And, Demko coming back, I still felt like there was going to be some rust on his game, but the quicker he can get to top form, man, this is dangerous for other teams if he's feeling good down the stretch.
Hey, Jamie, I thought this was unusual. After the game, Rick Tocchet said that Canucks goaltending coach Marco Terenius called down to say, use Lekkerimäki in that fourth spot. He advised them to use Lekkerimäki in that situation. And Rick went on to explain that's not that unusual, that a goaltending coach would know the tendencies of not only goaltenders, but shooters as well. What do you think?
No, it's 100% correct. Even go back to, when I think it's about 15 years ago now that I was the goalie coach in Calgary. That was one of my responsibilities is pre-scouting shooters. Okay. I would sit down with Kiprusoff or Curtis McElhinney before the game and say, okay, this is the tendencies. And then we do shootout. And then I would go to the shooters and say, this is the goalie's tendencies. And I would go to Alex Tanguay and Jerome McGinley and you name it, Damon Lankow, guys like that. And say, if you get an opportunity to shoot in the shootout, this is what he likes to do. Here's some examples of players that have beat him with these types of moves. All you do is just, you get it in their mind what the goaltender looks like if you're one-on-one. So it doesn't surprise me that as a goaltender coach, you also pick up stuff in practice. Always at the end of practice, everybody does shootouts. And it's funny, you'll see randomly sometimes a defenseman get thrown in there going, hey, this is the number 3 shooter. And the guy's got 2 goals this season, but he's shooting in the playoff or shooting in the shootout, and it's because of the moves that he has in practice that seem to always have success. So I think it's the right call. Obviously, it was the right call because Lekkerimäki does score, and to me, there are guys that are we call it the trick shots or whatever, that just seem to score in practice all the time. And obviously, Marky's reaction on that's a $350 reaction as he snaps the stick or whatever. But you know what? I'll go back and, God bless his soul, Steve Montador in Calgary was a defenseman that I played with, and he was great in shootouts. And I do believe that the Flames used him sometimes kind of out of nowhere where, it would be other guys you would think would be ahead of him.
Hey, Jamie, Patrick Waugh ripping the refs last night. Sheldon Keefe got testy with the media about one of his players over the weekend. Is it that time of the year? I mean, there's
is it ever?
We're seeing coaches flipping out here. It's that time of the year, playoff races.
Even in soccer, Team Canada's coach,
Yes.
Jesse Marsh, gets the red card. I mean, it is. Everyone's got a hate on, or they're very testy right now. And you could make a case for everybody. You watch the standings, you look at Sheldon, and Sheldon's trying to win games, and Kovacevic is a guy who has played zero playoff games, and he's trying to. I think, to be honest, I thought he was trying to say the right things.
Yes.
And Sheldon's just like, you know what? He just needs to play better. Don't have him. I don't need him speaking for me or the team. And you could probably blame the PR person on that. Patrick, I mean, listen, he's passionate. He wants to win the game, and it didn't work out for him. I mean, that was the difference in the games. The Islanders lost a big point there yesterday, and they're in a playoff battle. So I'll be honest, I kind of lean towards what Patrick was thinking on that scenario, because you could have easily called it a goal on the ice and then overturned it or not. The fact that they were so emphatic that it was no goal, it was almost like the refs wanted to double down on it instead of just saying, hey, let's go through the process. So I am a goalie hugger, so I always lean towards either no goal. But in that case, I do believe Patrick did have a leg to stand on. And I don't know if he's going to get fined or whatever, but I would imagine he might be a little lighter in the wallet today.
Jamie, I don't think anyone thought Calgary would be fighting for a playoff spot at this time of the year early in the season. A lot of people had them, they're rebuilding, doing whatever. But this kid, Dustin Wolf, how are you not impressed with people are talking about Rookie of the Year? Some are talking about Hart. I mean, he is the sole reason the Flames are right there in the thick of things in the West.
Yeah, I mean, Hart is a stretch, but I do like the definition of the Hart, and he does fall into that. So I talked to Mike Kelly, the analytics guy from Sportlogic, the other day, and he said, yesterday on Twitter, created a little bit of a buzz with some of his stats and backing him up. But I would certainly, as far as Rookie of the Year, I don't know if Michkov would be one in there, but let's go with the other three: Lane Hudson, Celebrini, and Dustin Wolf. Celebrini, I think, is a fantastic player. Unbelievable. I think he's a superstar. It's just unfortunate right now when you're on a rebuilding team and you're not going to make the playoffs and you're that far down in the standings. I find it hard to just go, you can win Rookie of the Year. So if I'm looking for a separator, is it the team that makes the playoffs? And so now you're looking at Lane Hudson, who's had an unbelievable season statistically. I think he's projected to get 65 points. If he ends up getting that, he's on a very short list of like Hall of Fame defensemen to get 65 points-ish in the rookie year. So very impressive.
Yeah.
But I look at Dustin Wolf, he's the goaltender. And, I think that position carries a little bit more weight as far as, how important it is. And if Calgary can make the playoffs, I think Dustin Wolf gets the Rookie of the Year. So the separator for me, guys, I don't know how you would vote, but the separator would be playoffs. Yeah. So now all of a sudden you go, if Montreal and Calgary makes the playoffs, now it's a coin flip between Hudson and Wolf. But one of them make the playoffs. I think that might be the separator. So I don't know. Calgary's in one. Obviously, they sweep New York, and they're not making much ground because St. Louis is 13-2-1, I think, in their last 16. So everybody's chasing them. They're the pace car right now. Vancouver gets 2 big points last night. So, Calgary's got a huge game tonight. I believe it's against Seattle. Yep. So they've got to play hard. But Wolf definitely is my Rookie of the Year. I'm leaning more towards goaltender and importance of the position.
Before I let you go, Jamie, Sunday in L.A., why did the officials let Kemper and Swayman fight?
I've been asked that question now 5 times. No. I don't know, because I would have liked to see it, although the last fight I remember was it Mike Smith and Cam Talbot? And that was like, Smith is a big man. And the one I brought up yesterday was Brent Johnson and Rick DiPietro. I don't think DiPietro knew that Johnny was a lefty. And I believe DiPietro had a tough time staying off of IR. And that one broke his cheekbone. Oh, no. But, the biggest legends, I always thought, and you guys could speak to it in that market, Dan Cloutier was an absolute killer.
Beast. Yeah.
I loved him I love Dan as a person. I loved him as a goalie. And I was afraid of him because he was he was like player tough. Like he's a guy who could fight heavyweights. Him and Ray Emery always were like, scary guys. And I remember being with the Islanders and Kluche. I think he laid the beats to Tommy Salo, and I was like, oh, I remember thinking like that's not a fun one. But in the end, I would have liked to see Swayman and Kemper go. It's just it's unique, and it's like anything. People always slow down when there's a car crash on the side of the road. I think people would love to see a goalie fight. It might be good for business once in a while here or there.
Don't forget Potvin Hextall. And I think Ron Hextall didn't know I think I've got this right. Felix Potvin's dad was a boxer. So he taught the kid a thing or two. And I think he surprised old Ronnie there because I thought, oh my gosh, Felix Potvin's going to get killed. That didn't happen. What about Jamie McLennan versus who?
Yeah.
Tell us about your history.
Okay, so I'll tell you a funny, very, very funny story. And it is still to this day on YouTube. So Thomas Vokoun, we're playing Nashville, and Jerome McGinley goes to play the puck, and Vokoun is like way out in the corner. And I don't know what got into Iggy, but Iggy just mowed him over. And so Vokoun got up swinging. And if you watch the replay, now the fight is into the corner. I took off. I will say this. It's the fastest I've ever skated in my career because I skated the 200 feet and to a point where there was a linesman trying to stop me at the blue line, and I just blew around him. But as I went to get into the pile, if you watch the transaction very quickly, Iginla in the pile pops Vokoun in the head with the left, and it knocks him over. So then I go in and I jump on Vokoun. So it makes it look like I've got the upper hand, and I like kind of just jump on him and make it look good. And the crowd went crazy. Like, I'm not lying, like standing ovation.
There you go.
And it made it look like that I beat up Vokoun or whatever. But if you go back and go through the tail of the tape, it was Iggy who knocked him down. I just jumped on him. And so Vokoun was so mad at me. He was like yelling at me afterwards. And then they had this backup, Jan Lysak, or I think his name was, or something. He was yelling at me too. But it did look really good. Like on paper, it looked good, like I was standing up for my teammate. But I didn't really do too much other than kind of grab him and shake him around a little bit.
Well, lucky you did that because Jerome needs a lot of help when it comes to fighting. So I can understand where you're coming from, Jamie. Thanks for this.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Always good.